Hello and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Rocketfund workshop. Hope you're all as well as can be during these unusual times. And thank you for joining us on your last day of freedom before the pending lockdown. I'm Ben. I'm the head of school fundraising at Crowdfunder and sort of the founder of Rocketfund. And we've got Bertie on the line as well, here he is.
We do indeed. Hello, everyone.
Bertie, introduce yourself, please.
Hi, everyone. So I'm a coach at Crowdfunder UK. So we'll be talking about in today's session my experience of what makes a successful crowdfunding campaign matched with Ben's expertise about fundraising for schools. So we're based down here in Newquay, and Ben, you're in London, aren't you?
I'm in London at the moment, yep.
But together, we've got your best interests at heart and can help you put together a good campaign should you wish to do well.
Yeah, right. So it's quite a small session this time, only 7 people, which is great. This means we can answer all your questions and have a really open discussion. So I've got some slides we'll share. We can go through the slides first. Feel free to ask as many questions as you'd like as we go. We've also got Nicole, who's moderating the chat, and she'll be replying to messages on the chat, and we'll try and get to them as well as we go or at the end. Unfortunately
for you, it's just you who can see us. We can't see you, so feel free to relax and we'll run through all the crowdfunding and, as Ben says, jump in with any questions you've got. So it's a rare opportunity. With only 8 people, we're growing, so. Hopefully we'll be able to get around everyone as we go.
And we will be sharing the slides and the recording of this workshop afterwards, so don't worry if you're missing anything or making notes. Okay, so welcome to the Live and Learn. This is what we're going to talk about today. We'll introduce ourselves, then we're going to talk about what is about crowdfunding itself as a concept, what the benefits are for schools and for PTAs. Then we're going to look at what makes a good crowdfunding project, discuss what rewards you should offer, and then we're going to discuss school fundraising ideas for this term, which is, possibly the second most unusual term of the last 100 years after last term. And then we'll talk about a Panto online campaign we're launching in partnership with Peter Duncan of Blue Peter fame. And then, like we said, the audience Q&A at the end. But jump in whenever you like on the chat, and we'll answer all your questions. Okay. So first of all, what is Rocketfund? So Rocketfund is a platform. It's a crowdfunding platform for schools and PTAs that I created about 3 years ago inside Nesta, which is a sort of innovation charity, as a sort of pilot basically. And we helped over 500 schools and PTAs raise almost £400,000. And so it was a pilot that worked. And the result was that it was then acquired by Crowdfunder, which is where Bertie's from, who have helped a lot more people raise a lot more money. So Bertie, give us an intro.
Yeah, so Crowdfunder UK is the #1 rewards-based website in the UK. And while Ben is focusing on schools, Crowdfunder is very much an open platform which deals with cross-sector, could be charities, could be businesses, could be books, films, you name it. And we've been in operation for about 5 years. To date, the projects that have crowdfunded with us have raised over 110 million, which means there's about 200 projects added to the website every day. And Crowdfunder is certainly playing a big role in the COVID space, where people, since lockdown, Crowdfunder has made a point of helping people support their businesses, their restaurants, their cafes, their cinemas, and run big campaigns, raising £3 million for venues, £1 million for theatres, and tens of £1 millions for general crowdfunders. So while Crowdfunder UK is diverse, the process of crowdfunding itself is applicable to each of those sectors, including schools. So everything we've learned from the range of projects that use us can be distilled and put into great effect in the school context too.
Awesome. Right, so now we want to know who else is here. So a quick poll on screen. You should be able to see the poll on your screen now. If you could just tell us who you are, and if you're not any of those categories, feel free to tick other. It looks like I can't see.
Bit like the election coming.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh my gosh. Who else was disappointed not to have a clear result this morning?
Yeah.
I was so excited.
Yeah,
it's still not quite there. Anyway,
there's lots of blue here. So teachers, members of PTAs.
Great. I can't tell how many people have actually submitted the poll, so I'm just going to end it there. Thank you. That's great. Oh, we've got another. Any more for any more? Okay. Right. So you can probably see that now, hopefully. Mostly PTAs here and a few teachers. And now the other thing I wanted to check was who has done a project before. So have you done a crowdfunding project on Rocketfund or Crowdfunder before? Just yes or no. Any more for any more? So far, 100% no, which is good, because it means it's all new. Right, I'll end that. And the last thing I wanted to double check before we sort of bang on about all the things we did last time is were you at the webinar that we did about 3 weeks ago? Yes or no? Another simple question. This then will help us to adjust the content of this webinar. Okay, so far most people know. Okay, brilliant. Right, end of the exam. On to the next slide. So we'll take you through the steps like we did last time, and sort of starting from what is crowdfunding. So, good question. Here's our dictionary definition. It's the process of raising money from a large number of people, usually over the internet. Essentially, it's an online version of what many PTAs have been doing for decades. And it goes back a long way. So before the internet, the people of New York crowdfunded essentially for the base for the Statue of Liberty, because I think they were given the Statue of Liberty by France, if my memory serves me right, and they didn't have enough money to put her on a base, so they had to fundraise from sort of the local residents or supporters, fans of New York, to fund the cost of the base, which obviously now looks spectacular. So it's really, it's a very old concept. Crowdfunding now, we use the internet, but in the old days they used checks and post and newspaper articles. But essentially, it's just raising money from lots of people for a single cause. And there are many different types of crowdfunding. The ones that we enable or focus on are purely donation-based, which is things like Just Giving, like simply just raising money for a cause. But we also enable you to do rewards-based crowdfunding, which is essentially offering rewards in return for the donations, which could be a ticket to an event, a raffle ticket, or a quiz ticket, or it could be a gift or an item or a sponsorship opportunity of some sort, like for a local business. And right now, actually, I did say it's the end of the questions, but there's one more question, or a couple more actually. What we want to know, what sort of things do you want to fundraise for this term? Feel free actually just to type those in the chat, because it's more interesting than a poll. So what sort of things do you want to fundraise for this term? Is there anything on your wish list? Is there anyone out there on the chat? Either people are shy or they've gone to get a cup of tea.
Probably a poor connection.
Outdoor equipment, books. Great.
Good stuff. Is that what you usually expect, Ben, in crowdfunding projects?
It's really varied, actually. We see a lot of outdoor projects like playgrounds and sports fields and nature gardens, and a lot of technology projects, especially at the moment, with iPads or laptops and Chromebooks, devices to get through things like COVID. But it's totally variable. School wish lists are totally unpredictable and wild and wonderful things. So, as you can see from the list, so that's really, really interesting. And we've seen a few projects come through recently where it's just simply the PTA pots, like donate towards the PTA pots, which is absolutely fine. But you may find that more people will get behind it if there's a clear purpose to your project. So, say I spoke to a PTA yesterday who the overall project is to raise money for a swimming pool, which is sort of being built, but there still needs to be more to be done. And I think that is a much clearer objective for people to get behind and donate towards. This lady was chair of her PTA. She actually went to the primary school herself, many years ago, and she thought that her friends or other alumni or people in the local area would love to support them building that swimming pool because it's something that the whole community can benefit from. So that's way more motivating or inspiring than simply the PTA general pot. So if you can, I'd recommend breaking it down into and having an objective for each project, even if it is a general ongoing objective to fix the swimming pool. That's still really inspiring. Okay, so how does it work? This is the sort of 4 steps to how a crowdfunding project works. First of all, you create the project on Rocketfund. You then share it with everybody. Hopefully they donate or share. That's a sort of simple message you ask them to donate or share your projects. You then hit your targets, and then you send out your rewards. So we can go through each step now, one by one. This is how you create. This is an example project that was published recently on Rocketfund, and it's as simple as you go to our homepage, click Get Started, and it should be really easy to follow the instructions. We try to make it as simple as possible and self-explanatory as possible. And essentially, you add your main image, you write your story, who you are, what you're fundraising for, and why that's important. And then you set your target. We've seen a few projects come through with massive targets recently, which is great, but I would just really encourage you to be realistic and you can set your initial target of, say, around £1,000, £2,000, and then you can have a stretch target. And it's just great if you setting the target more, maybe making it a bit more realistic or a bit smaller, means that individual donations feel like they're making a difference. So the average £20 donation feels like it is making an impact on a £1,000 project rather than a £7,000 project.
I don't necessarily think that you'd want to put together a page almost as general as this. The key rule with crowdfunding is that this is what you wouldn't want to send out really to a wide audience at once. You'd send on when you're first at the very beginning of a project to those closest to support you, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But as you can see, this page with 2 supporters and £100 raised probably won't inspire the wider community who are less familiar with the project to pledge. You need to do a bit more window dressing than that by going out to kind of friends and family who you can call to get a pledge on initially. And we know I think one of the great things is how easy it is to put something up. There's a bit of skill in crafting a perfect picture of why it's important. So that's including, to give it context, photos of the school, maybe the logo, and some of the activities and its situation in the community. And that's what people recognize and support. And I'd suggest it's probably more inspiring than using the kind of a laptop photo.
So what you're saying, this isn't very personal, this one. The photo isn't anyway, at least.
I would mark you down on the personality of the project. Yeah.
The aim is admirable and really important, obviously. But the image itself is a bit boring. It's to be fair, it's what they want to buy, but it's not the people they're going to recognise or the kids that they're going to help, or even the school's logo. That's the challenge of crowdfunding is you've got this page on which to tell a story. And people don't give their money away for the sake of it. There's an effort to go to connect them to the cause. So if you do go to Rocketfund, the page itself, go to the Explore section, you'll see a real breadth of the different categories that you suggested you're interested in crowdfunding for. And each of those will have told their story in a different way and
will appeal to you, they either will or they won't. So you've got the opportunity to create something which you believe to be effective, and it's always worth putting in the extra effort, I think.
Totally agree. Nice one. Okay, so once you've created a project and you've made it personal, add some photos of the school or the children or something people are going to recognize, then it's time to share it and get it out there to as many people as possible. Here's a sort of template supporters map we've created to give you some inspiration. So you'll find this in our fundraising guide. So you just basically filling the gaps. So if you have any people who've supported you already, that would go here. Think about maybe local businesses, especially the ones who might be doing well during lockdown or during COVID. I've heard that wine merchants are doing very well, so DIY stores. So estate agents are doing fairly well. People like that who you might be able to reach out to. And then there's obviously parents, friends and family, sort of core supporters. And try and get that, but try and get beyond them to people like the school alumni, which you might reach through social media and local newspapers and local press. So yeah, just try and work your way around this. Well,
and the networking opportunity, it really is quite an encouraging exercise, because you'll get a sense very quickly of just how many people and how wide the network is. Because individually we've got our own networks, but if you put a group of people together, they have a vast reach. And crowdfunding is about having this central vehicle to collect pledges, where you've got this page to inspire people, you're sharing the link with them, and they in turn can donate or pick a reward. So if you are able to make this exhaustive list of different possible backers or promoters, then you'll have a real sense of how far you can go with your crowdfunding campaign, because each of these local businesses, people, partners, local media, the school itself, the alumni, the Facebook groups, they all have connected audiences. And the skill in crowdfunding is pulling all of those together, because traditionally you run a 4-week campaign, and within that 4-week, you need to reorganize all of these different groups to promote and pledge on the project. So this organized approach to planning it is really, really key to your success. And I think for anyone nervous about this method of fundraising, the best way to reassure yourself and the potential for the crowdfunding campaign is to go through this process, because then quickly you'll understand who's going to pledge on the project, rather than what does happen maybe for those who haven't prepared, are they just put the page up and start promoting it without thought to who it's going to. And those aren't the successful campaigns. The ones that do these maps are.
Right, well said. And then finally, there's some suggested channels you might want to try using, especially when you first get going, to share the project. You just get it out there as soon as you can to as many people as you can. Right. Oh yeah, and before the next step, the top tip is that we've seen some projects where you can build excitement, tell people about the project before you launch. So back to that school who's raising money for a swimming pool. Hopefully everyone knows about that project already. It's an ongoing building project, and they can start telling people, oh, by the way, we're going to launch a fundraiser soon, or we're going to be doing a raffle next week, or a quiz, or actually they're doing a raffle, so they're doing a Christmas raffle to go towards the swimming pool. And that builds people excitement, and they'll know what you're talking about when you send them the message and the link to your project. And it's a really great way to get those early supporters and to sort of warm people up before you get going.
Yeah, and it's a really good point that crowdfunding is a social experience. So typically, to what you do when you're meeting someone in the shop and they're saying, what's going on at the moment? You say, well, we're doing some fundraising at the school. Well, that's interesting. Like what type of fundraising are you doing? And the same as Ben suggests, you want to look at that network of people and speak to anyone important that you expect to play a role in the crowdfunding campaign first, so that they can offer some advice, some support, and you can personalize your conversation with them. Because by really being open with this approach, you're able to get much more people behind you. And the secret in crowdfunding psychologically is, as soon as you ask someone's opinion or help with a project, then you've probably secured some promotion or a pledge from them. So it's a great way to talk to these businesses in advance and tell them about the campaign. What could they offer as rewards, or what promotion could they offer or pledges during the 4 weeks that you're live?
Absolutely. Right. So once you are live and once you're sharing it with everybody, hopefully you'll see the money start to fly in. And this is a project which is live at the moment. They hit their initial target. I think it was about £600, and which was here. And then they've then added a stretch target of £1,000, which they've just hit yesterday, which is fantastic news. But this is basically hopefully what your project will look like shortly. You can see the number of supporters and the number of comments, which are basically messages people leave after they've donated. But again, which is actually one of my favourite parts of the whole process. You'll see a lot of love in there, hopefully. And updates are things that you send to your supporters or to anyone who looks at the page, just giving people progress updates on how you're doing and what you're doing. So a recommendation for these guys would be send an update, thank everybody, and say, what you're going to do with the new stretch target or with any extra money you raise, for example.
And give them an action, so you can thank them and also say, look, we've done fantastically well. If we're able to get another 500 quid, then we'll be able to get the latest jungle gym. And that means that if one of you could find just one other person to make a pledge, then we could double the amount of support for the primary school. So you can do little things and incentives in there to keep them, your core audience, those who've already backed you, to help you move forward.
Absolutely.
I think we've got some questions rolling in.
Yes. Leanne has asked, is it limited to a 4-week period? No, it's not. We just recommend, that's a great starting point. You can do it shorter than that, you can do it longer than that, but 4 weeks is sort of what we recommend initially. But you can always extend that if you like. So if you want to roll and you want to keep going, then you can extend that. It's just great. It creates a bit of urgency, so it's good to have a deadline. Yeah.
And it's also manageable from your point of view. I think it's quite intimidating if you're doing a whole year's worth of fundraising. This way you can manage your own time and then everyone else's interest in the project. So there's a big belief or a lot of thoughts out there that maybe a longer format campaign is more successful, but they're not. They're purely very difficult to build motivation for or momentum. So short and sharp campaigns manage your time and your audience times much more effectively.
But sort of a thing that many PTAs might be interested in is we have a multiplier functionality. So say you have a massive target of, I don't know, £100,000 for a school swimming pool, like I mentioned earlier, which over many years. You can have that as your overall target, but you can have projects which contribute towards that, which are sort of individual 4-week projects. So this month you can run a quiz, and people can buy tickets for the quiz, and you can raise £1,000 hopefully through that, which goes towards your overall target of £100,000 to build the pool. And then you can keep doing other campaigns, so like little mini marketing campaigns and new activities or new events that the PTA or school is organising, which contribute towards that goal, which makes them much more tangible and much more manageable from your perspective and from the donor's perspective.
Yeah, and to set that up, if you have a project, you will have a box to tick, which will invite or give other fundraisers the opportunity to raise money for you. So it's just part of the adding your project to Rocketfund process that you can open up that option.
Right. So once money's flown in, hopefully you hit your target. Fantastic. And this is a page which hit the target in the summer. And then the money is simply just transferred to whichever account you connected to your Rocketfund page, which should ideally be your school's or your PTA's bank account. We don't take any commission at all, which is great, so it's free, but you will be charged credit card transaction fees, which are about 1.67% plus 20p per transaction, which is as low as we can get it. It's basically what the credit card companies charge for processing payments. And it should arrive in your account within 7 days, I think. Bertie, is that correct? Yeah. Cool. So that's it. It's money's in your account. Off you go. Buy the Leaders hoodies or whatever it is you want to buy, and then you send your rewards. So you'll see if you've offered rewards, which we do encourage, then you'll see who's actually who's selected those rewards as they've donated, and then it's up to you to deliver them in whatever form they are to your supporters. Okay, so you're probably wondering, we'll talk about rewards in a second actually. First of all, the benefits of crowdfunding for schools and PTAs. So the key benefits are it enables you to collect donations online from anyone, anywhere and anytime. So it's no longer just your sort of close school parent community. You can go beyond to sort of alumni, parents' businesses, local school suppliers. Great Aunt Mabel, who lives 600 miles away and would always want to support her granddaughter's school, but she'd never be able to attend the bake sale or the school play, can suddenly get involved. And you might be surprised at what happens. Suddenly money comes out things come out of the woodwork when you start asking and putting things online. And as I say below, also because you can enable people to donate anonymously, sometimes people who make larger donations prefer that. And yeah, again, you might be surprised what comes out. And the other two benefits are that it enables you to aggregate all your school fundraising into a central hub, like I talked about having the sort of overall project with lots of child sub projects, so you can see that going to each activity going towards the overall goal. And the biggest thing, well, my favorite thing, is that it enables people to donate as much as they like. So there's only so much money that you can stuff into the jar at the bake sale, but when you do it online and ask for enable it to be done anonymously if you prefer, then you can donate as much as you like, as much as you can afford. So people may really pay £500 for that cake if they want to, which will be slightly awkward at the bake sale. Right, so we've sort of talked about what makes a good crowdfunding project already, but this is just to really hammer home the point. This is a project we talked about earlier on the left, which hit the target. Basically, I guess there's two schools of thoughts here. One of the right is one that was on Crowdfunder. Obviously, you can see the platforms look almost identical, just different colours. The one on the right was a brilliant project. The one on the left was a very simple project, but it still hit its target. So I'll tell you why I like the one on the left, and Bert's going to tell you why he likes the one on the right. So on the left, this was done, in I think it's July this year. So it's probably launched in June. Just after lockdown, I think we're starting to come out of it. It was an extremely strange period. Really straightforward, simple project to raise money for school leavers studies, and it did the job. They raised £1,000 from 72 supporters in 14 days, like a fantastic result. But as we said, not a particularly personal page, not a particularly attractive page, no headings, not much formatting. The image does, that's what they want to buy. It could have been better or more exciting for the donors, more engaging for the donors to have a few more images, a few more headings, and maybe even a video would have been cool. But as you can see, you don't have to do that because it still worked. They got 72 supporters and over 39 comments, which are really nice. No updates again, which again is a massive shame. So this is a simple project, but it worked, but it could be better. Bertie, what do you reckon? Oh, he's on mute. Literally, we can't hear you.
Just as I made a cracking gag, because something about Ben doing a school report. Room for improvement. I'd agree. So I think the example that I've got on the right here is exactly the same crowdfunding mechanism as the one on the left, but they are essentially raising money for a school garden. And I think to do that, you could have a picture of a garden and lots of text, but I don't think that's going to do enough for people to appreciate the sentiment behind why it's important to have kind of these garden classrooms or outdoor spaces for children. And there is a bit of an education piece involved in here. So they have a lot of kind of statistics, they have a lot of imagery, which paints a very clear picture about the importance of the outdoors for kids. And the fact that you've got these kids like in the photos, enjoying the gardening. And if you check out the page, I'm sure Ben will send you the link, you can see the range of plans for the garden, so what they intend to build with the money, the rewards that they've got available, and a video. So while the supporter numbers are similar, they raised about £6,000, and it helps, I think, you promote and tell the story of the children at your school. And I think that's what people like to see, and what the evidence suggests. So you can put together a campaign, but which is very simple. But it's also very simple to go that little bit further and decorate the page to give people a very, very clear picture of why it's so important that they support you. And I think it's two ways. If you make a big effort with them, they make a big effort with you. So I think I'd give them top marks, and I'd put Ben in the naughty corner for that one. But I'm joking.
Well, and also there's a few other things they've done really well as well. They've ticked, because they're a charity, they've ticked the gift aid box when they've been creating their projects. And I know many PTAs are charities, so if you can tick that box. That means you can collect gift aid too. So you can see they get almost another £1,000 gift aid. And they've left it as always on, which means after their fundraising period finished, people can still donate. So obviously that doesn't really work very well for if you just want to buy some hoodies, which is time bound. You want to get them probably ready before the kids leave. But if it's a multi-year project like building a swimming pool or a garden, then you might want to leave it always on so you can refer people to the page if you want to make a donation. And they've enabled sub-projects, which is what I was trying to talk about earlier, which means they can run more projects which go towards it, or even other staff members or students could. So a classic one would be there's some staff members doing a marathon or a challenge. They're going to fundraise towards the garden too. They just need to click on this button, start fundraising, and it will create a page which then contributes back towards this project. And they would then also appear in the supporters page panel here. Right. Oh, my page has gone blue. There we go. So we kind of run through this, but just a quick checklist on what makes a good project. Have a good title, an inspiring title, which ideally includes the school's name, so when it gets shared, people know what you're doing and who it's for. Have a good tagline, because it's hidden by our faces. This is, if you see the tagline is here, and if people are scanning the page, that's a really helpful way to just grab their attention. A realistic target is important, plus a stretch target, but don't put your initial target too high. And lots of images, movers again, nice videos, and a clear story. Right, so onto the rewards. Like, what rewards should you offer? First thing, keep them as simple as possible to make your life easy, basically. It could simply be thank yous, like different levels of thank yous. So like £10 gets a thank you from the PTA, £20 gets a thank you from the teacher, and £30 gets thank yous from thank you cards or images or something designed by the students. It's totally up to you. Here's some examples from another project. They had a thank you, or some gifts that the students had made, or even like an invite to like a special event, which could be online in these strange times. Or even sponsorship of an event, so again, which might have to be online. But like a school quiz sponsored by the local estate agent or something like that, you could still have a slide or even a 30-second opportunity for the branch managers to explain why they're supporting your school or your quiz. You can create the little marketing or sponsorship opportunities for people to get involved. Here's some general ideas for awards, like just offering products or services, so like just offering things or experiences. Tickets to an event online, probably most likely now, or I say probably, definitely most likely now for the next month at least. Sponsorship opportunities, like I said, or just simply thank you messages. Does anyone have any questions on all this stuff we've just covered about how to create a project and what to offer as rewards? Feel free to type it in the box, or I think you can raise your hand if you want to speak. Any questions at all? Not sure if people are thinking or if there's no questions. So if you have any questions, feel free to type them as we go. So now we're going to talk about school fundraising ideas for this term, the term of all terms. When we planned this webinar, we weren't expecting a lockdown too, despite all the signs, but here we are. There's still loads of things that you can do during this period, and we sort of planned all these things anyway, because essentially it's just a case of thinking about your activity you would have done this term, all the wonderful Christmas events, perhaps the firework nights events, the quizzes, the bingo nights, the discos, the bake sales, all those sorts of things you can still do online. And obviously, ideally using our platform to raise the money, and then using other platforms like Zoom or Microsoft Teams or whatever your preferred communication platform is to run the events. So, first of all, shall we ask a question? What fundraising activities are you guys planning this term? I'm going to launch this as another poll. So, what are you planning, or what were you planning? What were you planning in a normal Christmas term?
Oh, a lot of options here. What's your personal favourite, Ben?
I mean, I love cake, so the bake sale will be my first. I'm pretty excited about the Christmas play idea of doing that online. We'll talk about that in a sec. Yeah, what was your favourite? Do you remember that?
I think the like you said, the Christmas play space is quite interesting, because I think people are having to think quite differently about that this year, and it might be an opportunity while everyone's engaged in the online Zoom space to feed into that bit and maybe put some extra funding opportunities into that. But I think the bake sale is quite a good example of just traditional fundraising run through crowdfunder. So for the normal opportunities where you can get some brownies, get a kind of a lemon drizzle cake, you could pledge on those online and then come and pick them up from the school as you bring your kids in. So it's very, very easy and straightforward. And I think if you've got Ben's email, he'll probably give you a pledge because he's into the cake.
You can do brownies in the post, I've heard or I've seen. So you could even branch out to people further away. So thank you for everyone for voting. It looks like Christmas Fair is by far and away the most popular thing. So we'll talk about that. And back to the chat. So we're just going to go through all the different sort of ideal ways you can do these things. So Bert just talks about online bake sales. Essentially, instead of taking cash and having people come and pick the cakes up like in a big in the old ways, you could offer them as rewards on your Rocketfund page, and people could simply buy them online, and then you could leave them at the school gates, or if you trust the kids, give them to the kids to take home. I know that if that was me, there might not be much cake left by the time we got home, but it's an option. So figure out the logistics of how you're actually going to deliver the cakes. You could even post them, but essentially you can just sell them as rewards on your Rocketfund page. Right. Another one, Fancy Dress Day. This could be this could still be in school. Kids could still come to school, in fancy dress, and they could just pay for the privilege to do so, again online through your Rocketfund page. Just like it's £1, £2, whatever it was you normally charge, and you can obviously offer the chance to donate more too, especially if you have a cause. So we're doing a Fancy Dress Day, raising money for books that we want to buy for year 6 or whatever it is, so it's clear where the money's going. At the moment, schools are open and you can still do fancy dress, which is awesome. If they're not, so you could still do fancy dress, but at home. We've had a few team meetings in fancy dress or crowdfunder, which has been great fun. And it's just, it's still a great way to break up the day or the lockdown or whatever. So I would definitely recommend that. Another one, you probably haven't done one of these for a while, but obviously during lockdown one, I spent probably half my waking hours doing quizzes with friends and family. And to be honest, I missed. I think we all got sick of them in June, but especially when the nights are now coming in, this is a great way to bring people together and to raise money for your cause. Just had a question from Kimberly. Do these pages look different than the goal fundraising? So the page looks like however you design it. It's essentially a blank canvas for you to design. There's the description box. You can put images and text and headings and videos in, and then the rewards you can edit to whatever you like. So if I was to create a quiz page, it would simply be, what's my Ben's School online quiz, Friday 13th of November next week. 6 till 7. It's £5 a ticket, and the prize, the quiz winners, or there'll be a prize to the quiz winners. I don't know, meal tickets to the local pub, or I was going to say an Amazon voucher because that's the easiest thing to do, but obviously it would really be really great to support someone else this term. And that's it. So it's basically your own little web page which you can share, and people can buy tickets, and you can then email the people who've bought tickets the link to the quiz beforehand, just like we did for this event. And another one which was really popular in the last webinar is like an online prize draw, also known as a raffle, a school raffle. For some, I think there's some legal reason we have to call it a prize draw to avoid having to have special rules or anything. But basically, you can run a raffle. Your school raffle can be run online, again, just by simply making the rewards an entry to the prize draw. We've actually got a whole page on this, which I'll share the link to after the webinar, because it's just going live. And it's again, you simply create the page. The rewards are entries to the raffle, and you have to have there's some T's and C's you have to copy and paste from us, which just basically, for legal reasons, explain that you can enter the raffle, the prize draw, by post as well, without buying a ticket if you want to. So we'll include that. Leanne just asked, would the quiz be hosting on a different platform like Zoom? Yeah, so Rocketfund and Crowdfund just is the sort of the fundraising platform which you can use to sell stuff, sell tickets, sell tickets to the quiz, sell tickets to the prize draw, sell gifts at the Christmas fair, and then, when people donate or buy stuff, you will get the names and email addresses of everybody. You can then send the links to whichever platform you're going to use for like Zoom, for the quiz. We'll let them do what they're good at, and we'll stick to the fundraising bit. And here's just an example of an incredibly successful prize draw that was done on Crowdfund earlier this year, which it raised almost £130,000 for a music venue in Sheffield, like unbelievable. And they only had one prize, which was Alex Turner's guitar, who's I think the lead singer from the Arctic Monkeys. Just shows that there's two things that went really well here. Like, the prize was amazing, obviously, and a good price, £5 or more. Some people say anything more. But there's also a really strong cause. It was save this venue, save the Leadmill Theatre from closing during COVID. And so all their supporters and fans and people who've been before wanted to get behind it. They didn't, they all knew the chance of winning was fairly low, but they also wanted to support the venue as well. And so you could do this brilliantly as a school by saying, we're raising money for books for our year 6 or for a new swimming pool, whatever it is raising money for. And we've got some great prizes or prize. Any comments on that, Bert?
Pardon?
Do you have any comments on that one? I think you probably helped out with that one.
I think, like you said, if you can find a product or a particular token, it's similar to that, where it's got a low buy-in point, has the opportunity to make use of someone else's network, then that's a really nice opportunity. And I think that's very easy to show your support for something. It's a very easy and straightforward ask. So I can imagine that working very well for schools where it was kind of support this particular primary school. All you need to do is pledge £5. We'll do a draw at the end, and you'll win. Maybe not Alex Turner's guitar, but maybe Bob Bob Billings guitar, who's the tribute act for the Arctic Monkey.
Well, it depends. Yeah. Or Bob's the music teacher's piano, or something, whatever. It is you have available.
Clear it up with the music teacher first.
Yeah, very good point. So yeah, I mean, like, if you're lucky enough to have a celebrity in your community or in your alumni, then that'd obviously be a phenomenal prize. If you get, and it could be anything of theirs, would probably be exciting, and they can then share that, and you can share that with everyone that you guys know, in your community and their community, and people will just get behind it because this person who won this may well have put that on eBay afterwards, but they also want. They said they supported the most important thing was that they supported this theatre, so let them stay open. I was speaking to a PTA yesterday, like I said, and they're going to do a prize draw with Christmas hampers, which they normally do every year, and they collect donations from parents, as in products. So they say donate one luxury product, give it to your child to bring in, and we're going to put together some Christmas hampers from these products, and then we're going to auction. Then we're going to raffle them off essentially through having a prize draw. So the prizes are these hampers, which are a collection of nice products people have sent in, and then they're raising, which are donated, and then they're raising money by selling tickets to the prize draw. That's one way of doing it with many prizes. So either way works. Right, the Christmas fair, which is obviously the most popular activity in the poll this time. Now, again, this is really straightforward. So we're probably not going to be able to have Christmas fairs this year, physical Christmas fairs, obviously. We're actually, some of our colleagues at Crowdfunder are working with Christmas markets, with town markets at the moment, and encouraging them to do their Christmas markets on our platform. And it's just using the sort of the fundraising page, like I said, for the other activities, it's flexing that to use it for what you need. So the rewards in a Christmas fair would be different items, Christmas biscuits, cards made by the kids, a gift from a local retailer or a local craftsperson. The things that you normally sell physically could just be rewards on the page, and then people buy them. Well, yeah, essentially, I say they donate, they buy them by selecting that reward on the page. The good thing is you can manage your stock as well by limiting the number of rewards available. So say you only have 10 Santa Claus biscuits, you can make that a reward, and there'll only be 10 available. And then when it's sold out, you won't be able to donate anymore.
Very exclusive reward.
But it's totally possible, and I think you can still have a lot of fun with it. You can still create a thing. You can still make an activity for the kids, the students to do. They can make things to sell at the fair. You can give it an opportunity for your local crafts people or retailers to sell stuff too. It just has to be done online this time, and you might be surprised how much you raise. Right, the last idea we wanted to run through was doing your Christmas play online, which is something that I'm particularly excited by because I just love the idea of hundreds of schools doing their Christmas plays online this winter, in a time when we can probably need a few giggles. So how this works? So basically, we have teamed up with Panto Online, which so Panto Online is a project by Peter Duncan, a former Blue Peter presenter, and he calls him, he's apparently legendary, and also a mad pantomime actor and producer. So he's doing his own pantomime online, and he's already created it, recorded it in his back garden, and he's selling tickets to people to watch that. And we've teamed up with him to inspire schools to do the same. Now, you can simply fundraise and purchase the school ticket to Panto Online. It's £150. It's like a sort of exclusive price. It means everyone can watch it, his show, and you also get sort of Panto tutorial videos from him in the sort of time beforehand on how to do your own Panto. But what would be really fun and what could be really great activities to do this term was to get your students to do their own Panto or play or nativity online, and stream it or share the recording with your audience, parents, local community. Again, where we help is that you can use your Rocketfund page to sell tickets again, to raise money for the school and to sell tickets to be able to watch your play. And then when you're ready, you can do your practicing, the rehearsals, and then you can get someone to film the performance and then put it onto YouTube or Vimeo. Maybe make it password protected if you want to, and then send that link out with the password to people who've bought tickets. So it's as simple as that, and could bring a lot of festive cheer to the people who receive that link, and also give the students something really fun to focus on this term. And the challenge of making that work with the current restrictions, hopefully, will just add to the learning experience. How do you do a panto in bubbles? If it comes down to individual solo acts, one person at a time, that's still possible, right? But hopefully it won't be. It'll be at least be in bubbles with students, just without a physical audience. Any comments on that, Bert, or any questions or any comments from the audience as well? Actually, is any?
Only that I think I completely think that would be the best way to raise money and to, as Ben says, give everyone a giggle. That is going to be something that you'll be able to share much wider amongst your network, because maybe, let's say the parents can go and watch this normally at the school, but there's also grandparents, uncles and aunties, cousins, siblings who would love to see it. And that if you get the link and make sure that it's recorded, then it's a wonderful way for people to get involved as well. So I think people are going to be recording their pantos anyway, so it's a nice opportunity to kind of make some money for the school at the same time.
Definitely. And we've actually got a video from Peter himself, so I was going to play this to give you a bit of an intro to what it's all about.
Hello, I'm Peter Duncan, and I love pantomime. I've been performing and creating pantomimes for many years, and I can't imagine a Christmas without all the boos and the cheers, and they're behind you. Oh, yeah, so they are. So I had an idea to make a film of Jack and the Beanstalk in my very own giant back garden that anyone, anywhere in the world could watch this Christmas. But more importantly, I have teamed up with Rocketfund so that you and your school can do the same. Now, if you want to put on a panto or a nativity play or something that you haven't even thought of yet, all you have to do is to sign up and create a page down below. Now, if you don't want to put on a panto, and I can understand that because it's not easy, you can still get involved by creating your own fundraising page, and that way you can buy tickets to see my panto online that comes with lots of extra goodies. So altogether, we can recreate the spirit of Christmas and pantomime by getting involved and raising lots of funds for very good causes. So me and my friends, we'd all like to say, Happy Christmas after 3! Oh no, they can't, can they? Because they're just puppets, paper mache, not real. Anyway, Happy Christmas.
Oh, all right, we're back. Okay, so there he is, the man himself. That is everything we wanted to go through today. So is there anything else? Any questions from? Is there any more questions from the audience that you'd like us to go through? We've got one question from Hannah. Do you have any info on how we'll be able to stream or share a panto to people who donate? So there's two main websites, YouTube or Vimeo. YouTube enables you to upload videos which are unlisted, so you can just share a private link and it won't appear in the search, basically. And Vimeo enables you to password protect things, so no one else can watch it without the password. Both of them are really, really easy to use. And it's up to you what your preferences are, really.
But I think to stream it, you can use, I suppose, the conventional webinar services. I think the people tend to use Zoom actually quite a lot for the streaming of that. So you could do that live.
I mean, you could be really adventurous and use Facebook Live and sit in there. Yeah, I would probably, yeah. It's up to you if you want to stream it live or if you want to pre-record it and then share the link when you're ready.
Yeah.
Any other questions, guys? You're welcome, Hannah. And you're welcome, Matthew. Thanks for your positive comments, guys. Appreciate it. It's slightly strange talking to a wall of silence, with no one talking back. But we really appreciate the comments. Can you do a lottery online? Well, I guess that's a form of prize draw. If instead of choosing your numbers, you're just buying a ticket. Which is probably what I'd recommend to keep it simple. Any thoughts on that, Bert?
A lottery with cash prizes, I'd probably be a bit. I wouldn't do those, but I think products and things like that for that kind of prize draw would be fine.
Cool. Okay. Any other questions or concerns or things we haven't covered that you'd like us to cover? Feel free to drop your comments in. And if not, then we're still available I'll type out the sort of support email address in the box now. And we'll email you a link to this as well for afterwards. Feel free to just reply to me when I do that. And so this is our support email address. But essentially, guys, the message is give it a go. If you just go to rocketfund.org, create a project, and it should be really self-explanatory. But if you have any questions, you can email us at that address, and we'll get back to you. And I'm happy to do a call as well if you'd like to talk through your project.
Awesome. Thanks so much for joining, everyone, and to Ben for hosting. Really, really glad to see some schools interested in crowdfunding. I think it could do wonders during a time where online communities are going to be some of the only communities we've got access to for the meantime.
Totally agree. Thank you so much, guys. Enjoy lockdown as much as you can. Enjoy your last night of freedom if you have any wild plans for this evening. And hopefully we'll see you soon on the platform. And like I said, send us an email if you have any questions. Thank you so much.
Bye.